Hello everybody, we're back here at TV's cabin tonight. Same video as we was doing on the crossbow a while ago. It's the 20th, I believe. It's Monday anyhow. No, it's the 18th, pardon me. I think the day's the 18th. But anyway, here we go. I thought that it would be, that part of survival, you know, is using what you have at hand. Now I'm a little low on firewood and I'm saving it for the colder weather on cooking on the wood cook stove, so I have a few electrical type appliances that I use sometimes that I don't always use. I prefer to use my wood, but right now I'm running low on wood and can't get in the bottoms. It's wet to cut any. So what I'm doing here, I'm using an electric hot plate tonight, and part of cooking is getting your meats and stuff well done. In my opinion, for survival, everything has the effect to the other, one effect to another effect, and you want your food done, especially on game such as deer and rabbit and squirrel. Now you don't want to overcook your squirrel. Sometimes you can overcook him, but just make sure he's almost, well, till all the pink's gone, pretty much. But don't, if you overcook squirrel, it'll be stringy and tough if you overcook him. So you have to be careful about overcooking your squirrel. And your rabbit too. Sometimes we can overcook it, but the main thing is, especially pork, you want it well done. Turkey, 180 degrees in the center. I'm going to make some coffee here too while I'm at it. I'm just cheating a little bit tonight. I'm using electric instead of firewood. Normally I use firewood when I have plenty. But I'm saving what I got because we got a snow coming in Wednesday, and I don't have that much wood, and I need it in case I have to heat my house. You know, with it. I've got a little electric AC air conditioner, one room air conditioner, heating air unit, and it does pretty good, except when it gets real cold down in the single digits, then it don't do very good. Then I need my woody. You know, when it gets in the low 20s and down into the teens, it's pretty cold too. It just stays lukewarm in here. I really don't like just warming up the air. The other thing about using electric, you got to remember, if the power goes off, you're going to freeze to death. That's why I'm conserving my wood. I don't have much left, and the stuff is 50 bucks a rick to buy. And if you're buying that, you're going to pay just about as much, because you can burn a rick in a week when it's cold, and you're going to pay out just as much as you would on the natural gas. I tell you, the natural gas got so greedy on me. About 4 years back, I guess it's been now, they got up to $5.50 for my little old 800-foot cabin, and that was just too much. Not this cabin, but my mom's cabin. This cabin's never had natural gas on it. My cabin hasn't, but Ma's did. But anyhow, when it got to $5.50 a month, I thought that was ridiculous. We had the lines checked for gas leaks and stuff, and they said there wasn't any. Well, if there wasn't, they'd sure been pretty greedy on the gas price, because it had never run over 80 to 100 a month on the gas. For many years, natural gas was the way we went. We could heat our house for about 100 bucks even on the coldest month. Okay, we'll get this here underway. This turned up a little more and get this meat and start browning up. Try to make some coffee here. All right, we get this stuff on underway here. Let me get my shovel over here. Some people call these things a spatula. I prefer to call it a shovel if I can get it down. Just a second. Okay, I got it unhung. But I use this right here for my turning of meat and stuff. It's pretty good. Now, if I'm using the Teflon electric skillet over there, I use a Teflon spatula, or if I use this, I'm very careful not to scratch the bottom. Because if you scratch the bottom of them Teflon skillets, they'll stick on you. They won't be worth anything to you. They're done for, in my opinion. Because all they'll do is stick up on you. See, I've got a little Teflon spatula I use on the electric usually. And when I can find it, if I have to use this one, then of course, like I say, I'd be real careful not to skin the bottom of your Teflon. And talking about those cans, you know, I was talking about the other day uses for our empty food cans. These metal cans, once you open them and you use them and you eat the food out of them. Like if you're out wandering around the bush and you happen to find some metal cans and you're lost or whatever and you need something to boil water in, these are ideal, but you can't always bet on finding something like this. I mean, in the bush. Sometimes you don't find that. You have to take advantage of what you find if you don't see no people to help you. And be careful about some people that you ask for help, because they may help you, all right on out of this world. So you don't always know. I'm not saying to be paranoid like me, but or whatever. I don't suggest anybody put themselves that scared. If you're desperate and need help, sometimes you got to ask anyway. But sometimes they'll help you, and sometimes they won't. So that's what I'm saying to you. In fact, I watched so I shouldn't be a live picture one night. A man and a woman. They were an elderly couple, probably in their 60s, and had retired, and he wanted to take her. He built a four-wheel drive Jeep-like car. Wanted to take her for a ride down in the country and out into the hills, mountains, and rough territory. And he gets out there, and they were driving along pretty good, and he hits a bump and hits a boulder, I think. He turned down the wrong road or something, but hit a bump too hard or a boulder and flipped the Jeep over. Fortunately, they wasn't hurt, but their Jeep was turned over, and he couldn't get it turned back over, and they didn't have very little water with them. He wasn't thinking again, not prepared when you go out. They should have took water with them. I always take water in my truck with me. You never know when you'll need a little water. Good or bad, any water is good if you have to have something to drink. You know, it's like I seen with Dave and Cody on their Survivor series on TV once. Dave and them come across this puddle of water in the desert. And they didn't have no way to really filter it good. So what Cody said anyway, he says better to drink it. If you ain't got nothing else to drink, you can go to the hospital or a doctor when you get back and get those parasites killed out of you. Or, you know, they can do stuff about that. But you're going to die in the desert if you don't drink something. And he's right. You dehydrate, your goose is cooked. You'll be dried up like a raisin. Good place to lose weight, I'll bet you. Some of that outdoor survival stuff would be. Because just think, if all you did all day, like our ancestors did, walked around all day long, imagine them. They was probably barefoot and naked, half naked too, because they probably didn't have the clothes we do, or the convenience we do. They didn't always eat so good some days when they didn't find something to eat. That's what I'm saying about that. You can imagine walking all day and running a trap line, for instance. You're running your snares, trying to find food or hunting for food all day, and get nothing. So you may be eating on leaves or whatever you can find, even though it tastes like crud and things like that, but you have to do what you have to do to live, is what I'm getting at. What in the world is that? I must have spilled some water on there. Never mind, that's just, let me wipe that off there and see what's going on. I don't think my coffee pot's leaking. No, I just spilled some water on that burner and it was bubbling there, but. Okay, anyway, back to talking about your water supply. Even if it's bad water, unless it's poison. Now, if it's poison and you know it is, you probably better pass, because it'll kill you anyway. And look for something else to drink, or figure out a way to filter your water some way. If you can't filter it, drink it anyway, though, unless it says poisoned. If it's been poisoned, then you're probably going to die anyway if you drink it. You're darned if you do, and darned if you don't in that case. But just with parasites in it, you may get them, you may not. Now I'm going to tell you, I've drank out of rivers and streams all over Oklahoma,